What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into the Outlands to test a very specific machine. On the bench right now, we have the Lenovo IdeaCentre. It is packing an Intel i5 processor paired with the RTX 3050 OEM graphics card. We are talking about the 8GB version of the 3050. How does this pre-built desktop handle such a fast, chaotic battle royale? Today, we are doing a full Apex Legends benchmark. We are going to push this Lenovo rig from low to medium to high and finally to ultra settings. But there's a huge twist to this specific test. We kept VSync turned on, locking our frame rate to a solid 60 frames per second. We need to see if this hardware can maintain that perfect lock across every single preset, or if it breaks under pressure. Let us start with the low settings. In competitive shooters like Apex Legends, low settings are usually the holy grail. Pros turn everything down to squeeze out every frame. Dropping into World's Edge on low with VSync enabled, the IdeaCentre flies. The RTX 3050 barely breaks a sweat. We are talking about a completely flat frame time graph, locked dead on 60 FPS. Because the GPU is not working at maximum capacity to push extreme frames, the system runs incredibly cool and quiet. The i5 processor handles the physics and player data perfectly, with absolutely zero thermal throttling in sight. But you didn't buy a modern GPU for PlayStation 3 graphics, so let us bump things up to medium. On medium settings, Apex Legends starts to show its true colors. The textures on the weapons look sharper. The lighting bounces off the metallic surfaces of the supply bins with a nice gleam. And the performance? Surprisingly, it stays completely locked at 60 FPS. We do not see a single dip. The 1% lows remain absolutely solid. This means no annoying stutters during chaotic fights and ultimate abilities. The Lenovo IdeaCentre is holding the line perfectly. Moving right along, we crank the dials up to high settings. This is where we expect mid-range cards like the RTX 3050 to start feeling the pressure and maybe drop a few frames. High settings introduce complex shadow mapping, ambient occlusion, and high-resolution textures that eat up VRAM. Luckily, because this is the 8GB OEM version of the 3050, memory is not an issue at all. The game looks fantastic. Dropping into Olympus, the grass, the vibrant buildings, the skybox, everything looks incredibly crisp. And the frame rate? Still completely glued to 60 FPS. It's a very playable, very beautiful, and tear-free experience thanks to that VSync lock. And finally, the moment of truth. Ultra settings. We maxed out every single slider the game has to offer. Everything is pushed to the absolute limit. We wanted to see if the RTX 3050 would finally drop below our 60 FPS target. But here's the most interesting part of this entire benchmark. Frankly, I didn't notice much difference in performance or visuals. Because VSync kept everything locked at 60 frames per second the entire time, the gameplay felt exactly the same across all 4 presets. The Lenovo IdeaCentre holds the Ultra preset surprisingly well, never letting that 60 FPS lock slip. It makes you think about how Respite Entertainment built this game. I guess it's designed so all players stay on the same level. They built a game that looks good on lower-end hardware, but does not offer massive visual advantages to those with top-tier rigs. It's balanced, it's fair. In fact, here's the real takeaway from this test. If you're playing on a 60Hz monitor, or you just prefer locking your frames with VSync, the absolute best way to play is on Ultra settings. Why? Because the RTX 3050 has enough overhead to handle the maximum visual fidelity without ever dropping below that 60 FPS target. You gain no extra competitive frames playing on low since the system is capped, so you might as well turn every single slider up to Ultra and enjoy the best graphics possible without sacrificing a single drop of performance. This Lenovo IdeaCentre proves that you don't need a $4,000 computer to get a premium, stable, and beautiful Apex experience. What do you think? Do you play with VSync on for that smooth, tear-free experience, or do you unlock your frames completely? drop a comment and let me know your setup. And if this benchmark helped you out, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.